focus on the news track.
CBI grills Kejriwal's deputy. Excise scam heat on Sisodia.
Aam Aadmi Party has converted this crisis into opportunity.
AAP rallies behind Kattar Imandar.
आजादी की दूसरी लड़ाई है.
BJP taunts Jashn-e-Corruption.
Let's not glorify corruption.
Delhi Liquorgate Dangal.
The Delhi Liquorgate dangle is getting bigger. Kejriwal's number 2 and the state's Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia has been grilled by the CBI for over 8 hours. Before heading to the CBI headquarters, Sisodia took out what AAP called a satyagrah. The Delhi Deputy CM compared himself to Bhagat Singh and Mahatma Gandhi. The BJP called this Jashn-e-Corruption.
Tika, Tilak and a mega show of strength. Key liquor scam accused and Delhi Deputy CM Manish Sisodia flexing muscle on his way to CBI headquarters for grilling in the scam case. Accompanied by a sea of supporters claiming vendetta politics by the BJP. Sisodia donned a tilak and sought blessings from his mother before leaving for CBI office after a huddle with AAP netas.
इन लोगों ने आज मुझे सीबीआई में बुलाया है. इनकी तैयारी अब मुझको गिरफ्तार करने की है. इन्होंने पहले सीबीआई रेड कराई मेरे इस घर में. इनको उसमें कुछ नहीं मिला. 1 पैसे का कोई भ्रष्टाचार नहीं मिला इनको मेरे घर में. उसके बाद इन्होंने मेरे बैंक लॉकर की जांच कराई. बैंक लॉकर छाने सीबीआई ने. वहाँ पे इनको कुछ नहीं मिला. इनको लग रहा था वहाँ कोई प्रॉपर्टी के दस्तावेज मिलेंगे, कैश मिलेगा, गोल्ड मिलेगा. वहाँ कुछ नहीं मिला. मेरे बैंक लॉकर में कुछ नहीं मिला.
Sisodia, accompanied by AAP heavyweights, led a road show first to the party office, waving the tricolour and standing through the sunroof of his car.
मैं आज आपको ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि हम लोग भगत सिंह के लोग हैं. हम जेल जाने से नहीं डरते.
And addressing party workers.
गुजरात में भारतीय जनता पार्टी बुरी तरह से हार रही है और आम आदमी पार्टी की सरकार बनने वाली है. इसीलिए बीजेपी घबरा गई है. इसीलिए बीजेपी डर गई है और इसीलिए झूठे केस मेरे ऊपर करवा के मुझको जेल में डालना चाहती है.
Sisodia then made a trip to Mahatma Gandhi's memorial at Rajghat, claimed that he is being hounded like the Mahatma.
जिस तरह से हमारे देश के शहीदों ने, हमारे देश को आज़ाद कराने वाले लोगों ने देश की जनता के लिए लड़ाई लड़ी और वो जेल में गए. जिस तरह से बापू को षड्यंत्र में फंसा के अंग्रेजों की सरकार ने झूठे मुकदमे कर करके जेल में भेजा. आज मेरे ऊपर भी एक फर्जी मुकदमा करके मुझे जेल भेजने की तैयारी की जा रही है.
As Sisodia finally entered the CBI office for grilling, Kejriwal backed him.
1 महीने तक ये मनीष सिसोदिया को गिरफ्तार करेंगे. जैसे ही 8 तारीख को नतीजे आएंगे, गुजरात में आम आदमी पार्टी की सरकार बनेगी. जेल के ताले टूटेंगे, मनीष सिसोदिया छूटेंगे.
The CBI is keen to know Sisodia's links with arrested aide of Kejriwal, Vijay Nair, a key liquor scam accused, arrested earlier. CBI also wants to know Sisodia's role in forming the controversial liquor policy and link of Telangana netas.
Almost 2 months after CBI registered an FIR in the Delhi excise policy scam and raided Manish Sisodia's house, the Delhi Deputy CM is right now being questioned inside the CBI headquarters. Sources have confirmed to us that today Manish Sisodia is being grilled over his alleged proximity with middlemen who lobbied for liquor baron and took kickbacks in return.
The BJP, however, mocked Sisodia's show of strength as Jashn-e-Bhrashtachar or celebration of corruption.
ये जो महिमा मंडन है भ्रष्टाचारी मनीष सिसोदिया का मुझे देखने को मिला, उनका भाषण चल रहा है, मनीष सिसोदिया जी राजघाट जा रहे हैं, माला पहन के ओपन गाड़ी में हाथ हिला हिला के जा रहे हैं। मैं तो देशवासियों से और आप सभी से एक अपील करूंगा, विनम्र अपील करूंगा, लेट्स नॉट ग्लोरीफाई करप्शन।
CBI sources told India today that mounting proof in Sisodia's role in excise policy are grounds for the summon. Is Sisodia's arrest imminent? With Aishwarya Paliwal, Amit Bharadwaj and Shreya Chatterjee, Bureau Report, India Today.
Is the Aam Aadmi Party merely trying to play the victim card by comparing themselves with Bhagat Singh? Or is the BJP genuinely rattled by the ingress the AAP has been able to make in Gujarat? Joining me on the big political showdown, representing the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party, its spokesperson Shehzad Poonawalla, squaring off against Shehzad on the show this evening. We've got Atishi from the Aam Aadmi Party. Now, I crunch election data as one of my key pursuits, and I can guarantee to you that at this point in time, the Aam Aadmi Party, from all the polling data that we're looking at, our own stringer analysis, is not in prime position to form the government in Gujarat. However, that's what you are claiming, that BJP dar gayi hai ji. Is this really smart political positioning, Atishi? Because you want to make it seem as if it's a fight between AAP and the BJP, which helps you with an eye on the next elections? Or is the BJP really rattled in your view? Are you picking up something which nobody else knows about what's going on in Gujarat? Atishi, let's start from there.
See, Rahul, it is very clear as the election has picked up in Gujarat, as Aam Aadmi Party's and Arvind Kejriwal's popularity has picked up in Gujarat, the attack on Aam Aadmi Party and its leaders by multiple agencies of the central government has increased. And it is very clear that for the first time in many years, BJP is facing a direct challenger in Gujarat. They are used to Congress giving them a walkover.
No, last time the Congress fought quite hard. The Congress gave them a tough fight last time. Atishi, it's not as if the Congress gave them a walkover last time. The Congress last time, not this time, but last time did fight hard.
But if you were to see, Rahul, where is the Congress now?
Sure.
Congress is nowhere on the ground in Gujarat, and today it is the Aam Aadmi Party that is directly challenging the BJP. Aam Aadmi Party, which is exposing the 27 years of misgovernance, and Bharatiya Janata Party does not want that the Delhi education model, that the Delhi health model should actually reach Gujarat. And that is the reason why that there has been a concerted attempt at stalling Aam Aadmi Party, at attacking its leaders, at filing false cases. And you can see the graph over the last few months of what is happening and the kind of cases that are being filed. Because the thing is that if you were to actually, you do a lot of work on data. Maybe you should do a data analysis of all the cases filed against Aam Aadmi Party in the last 7 years. 180 plus cases.
Okay.
Not evidence of 1 rupee of corruption in any of the cases that have been filed.
Okay, so you've laid the ground for this debate. Let me get a quick reaction from Shehzad Poonawalla. She says the number of AAP leaders being investigated has certainly gone up. The charges against them are yet to be proven in a court of law. The BJP, for some reason, even in the press conferences that they're doing, are training their guns on the AAP. The AAP says this is because BJP dar gayi hai ji.
You say, taking from, because you left in Hindi, भ्रष्टाचार के ठेकेदार करे लूट अपरंपार, कोई पकड़े हुए इंक्वायरी तो बोले अत्याचार अत्याचार, and they resort to दुराचार. Now let me ask them one question. If there is no evidence against them, as they say in all of these cases, then Manish Sisodia could have gone and got the FIR quashed. The CBI filed this FIR on 17th August. They have some supremely talented lawyers in their party. Secondly, let's forget the 180 cases. Let's take the 3 cases in contention where Mr. Arvind Kejriwal has declared them as Kanha or has declared them as Kattar Imandar. Satyendra Jain, despite all their propaganda and narrative and half-truths, is still in jail, 4 months past. And in fact, there are 3 court orders against him. 1 court order saying that he is an Apradhik Prashtabhumi wala Vyakti. Secondly, that he has done Awalabazi in 2019 August High Court order, and then 2022 order of the lower court that the ED charge sheet should be taken cognizance of. So why hasn't he gotten any relief? If he indeed is such a Kattar Imandar as per Mr. Kejriwal, why hasn't Vijay Nair got any relief from the courts? He's still in jail. Why hasn't Tahir Hussain got any relief from courts? They used to say Tahir Hussain channel also, bichara Musalman who's being persecuted by the law enforcement agencies. The point is only this, Rahul, that there are certain specific questions on the Sharab Ghotala which they just don't answer. The question is that how is the commission increased from 2.5% to 12%? The 6% kickback came back to the Aam Aadmi Party leaders. There were people like Mr. Vijay Nair, like Mr. Arjun Pandey, who works in a channel, and dare I say that it's a channel that is related in some way to Atishi Marlena because her relative works in that channel. He is also part of this scam. What is the relationship there? Will they explain the relationship between Mr. Dinesh Arora and Mr. Manish Sisodia? Why was he patronizing his nightclub? But apart from that, the bigger questions that need to be answered. Here's a show cause notice to a manufacturing company that was not allowed to come into this policy, Indo Spirits. Mahindra has also been arrested. What action was taken on this particular show cause notice of 2021? And I'm asking specific questions. Why was the operational period of the licenses increased? Why was the 30 crore EMD allowed to be refunded? These are questions we don't find any answers to.
Okay.
The revenue of the government fell by 4,000% and the revenue of the retailer, the Thekedar, went up by 1,000%. That was a windfall gain they gave. Instead of answering these questions, they go on to Gujarat, New York Times, 2024. By the way, on Gujarat, all surveys are showing them 0, including your friend Yashwant Deshmukh's survey showed them 1-2 seats or 0-1 seats.
Atishi Marlena, instead of responding to the specific charges on the excise policy, which the BJP calls a scam, the charge against the AAP is you're playing to the gallery, trying to milk the CBI ED cases to try and generate sympathy. This whole idea of doing this ritual before the questioning, it was with an eye on the cameras because you are trying to use this to your political benefit instead of dealing with it as an investigation.
My simple question is this, Rahul. CBI has been investigating this case for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months now. I want to know, it's been over 1 month since Manish Sisodia's residence was raided, Manish Sisodia's office was raided, Manish Sisodia's locker was raided, and Manish Sisodia's ancestral village was also raided. What has the CBI found within 1 month? They have not made a single utterance about what they found in any of these raids. Did they find any cash? Did they find any gold?
No, but they don't need to explain that to you.
Did they find any?
They are allowed to carry out the investigation. They don't have to give ball-by-ball commentary to AAP.
The reason, Rahul, do you think that if they had found proof of even 100 rupees of corruption, my friend Shehzad Poonawala and the other BJP spokesperson would have been doing 20 press conferences a day कि आम आदमी पार्टी वाले 100 रुपए खा गए, ये रहा उसका सबूत. So it is very clear that CBI has not found evidence of even 1 rupee of corruption. Neither will they find any evidence because Aam Aadmi Party has undergone investigation by all their agencies for the past 7 years, and in all these 7 years they have not been able to find any proof of corruption because we are an honest party, and therefore it is very clear that BJP is threatened by Aam Aadmi Party. Otherwise, case after case, sometimes CBI, sometimes ED, Delhi Police, Income Tax Department, Anti-Corruption Bureau. I have a question. If it is corruption that the CBI is clamping down upon, why has there been no CBI case registered after the Hooch tragedy in Gujarat? Obviously, there is an illegal liquor business going on there. Why is there not a CBI case after 21,000 crore rupee worth of drugs were found in Gujarat? No CBI case. So it is very clear that these agencies are only being used against Aam Aadmi Party, and
okay,
only
hold that thought.
When the
ED was probing Satinder Jain and all the Hawala companies that were being found, the BJP was doing press conference after press conference claiming that there was a financial link. They seemed to have information about the investigation. Atishi says if you'd found something against Manish Sisodia, by now Shehzad Poonawala, Gaurav Bhatia, Sambit Patra would have been on TV saying, here is the evidence, we found the evidence. Kahan hai sabut? Batao Shehzad.
Because Rahul, we are a party that believes in allowing the agencies to do their function as per rule of law, and we don't go and start commentating on what should be done by the agencies. And therefore, let me tell you, Satinder Jain, the same argument they used to make. They used to say, ek rupya nahi mila. No, Atishi, I think you should not forget this is Rahul Kanwal's show. It's not an advertising slot. It's not an advertising slot, nor is it a free YouTube slot. So let me come into the debate, and maybe Rahul will get you in when he feels
Atishi, let Shehzad speak. He was was listening to you
Shehzad,
patiently. You must
just a bit funny
extend the same
when you
courtesy
said
to him.
that. When you said that,
This
you
is not
let
the way to.
agencies-
This is not the way. This
You know,
is
that
not the
sounds
way.
like an evil Ram Leela kind of laughter. That's not nice, Atishi.
agencies work
Let's keep it classy.
independently. That is going. That
You know,
is-
she's just wasting my
That is going
time.
a
She's
bit
just
far.
wasting-
Okay,
eating into my
Atishi, he heard you with patience. Allow him the same courtesy. I'll come back to you for a retort. Go on.
Rahul, they said the same things for Satyendra Jain. Today, Satyendra Jain is in jail for 4 months, and I have shown you the 4 court orders where he's been
No,
told
where's
to have a
the stuff
premise.
against Sisodia? That's what
No,
she's
I'm
asking.
coming to that also. Firstly, this was said about Satyendra Jain. They were now today Satyendra
we don't
Jain.
the evidence against
Yeah,
Sisodia.
I'm coming on that also. But let me make my case one by one. When they said it about Satyendra Jain, we said let the agencies do their job. The agencies did their job, and today he's in jail and has not got relief despite all their half-truths and their propaganda. Point number 1. Point number 2, if they see that, look, not even 1 rupee has been found, Sambit Patra and Shehzad Poonawala are not doing press conferences, then Rahul, if not even 1 rupee was found and there was a false FIR against you, what would you do? You would go to the court and get the FIR quashed. It's been 1 month, right? 17th August, actually it's 2 months, it's 17th October. Why didn't they go and get the FIR quashed that, listen, the CBI has so-called given us a clean sheet, nothing is being found. The FIR is the starting point of the investigation. Rahul, you know that this investigation, even if it's a small pocket mar or a black ticket wala, he will not keep the proceeds of the crime in his house. But there will be other incriminating evidence, including digital evidence and other transactions, which they will piece together, and when they feel it is appropriate after taking the action, maybe arrest, maybe questioning, they will come out with it. But that doesn't mean that you start saying that because the CBI has not put out anything in the public domain in an ongoing investigation, it's a clean sheet. And if it is a clean sheet, go to a court of law and prove it. But third point, let me come to the larger point that they are saying. See, she went on to Gujarat. 21,000 crore drug haul, whatever you're talking about, NCB is inquiring and investigating into it, and it was not the Aam Aadmi Party who went and caught it.
She's
there.
asking about
So
the
let's
huge
not-
tragedy and
Yeah.
why there's no CBI inquiry in the huge tragedy.
Very good question. Now, every tragedy that she feels that requires a CBI inquiry, if she feels that there is evidence that there are Gujarat BJP leaders involved and the agency is not doing their job, they are free to go and file a criminal complaint in a court of law. They at least have faith in a court of law, right? But 8 years after the entire
So you are
narrative is
saying
being
that
built that this is
CBI will
vindictive
only
politics,
investigate cases
not
of
one
BJP
case, they can go and prove it. And let
only
me
when
tell
we
you,
go to court.
Rahul,
Is that
what
what
did
you're
they
saying,
say?
Shehzad
Please, Rahul, I think
Poonawala?
one at a time would be
Shehzad,
more
is that what
decent
you are
way to
saying?
debate.
That
No, let me just come in.
CBI
It's a very
will
important
only
fundamental point.
investigate
Rahul, it's a
BJP
fundamental
Just one
point.
second. Shehzad, you've spoken. Let's listen to it.
It's a fundamental point. She's cutting me off or a fundamental
Rahul, this is an
state.
important
Just 10
point.
seconds.
Okay, one second. I can't have both guests speaking at the
It's
same
a
time.
fundamental point.
Let's
that the only
Rahul,
way
it's a
that
give him
fundamental
10
BJP
seconds.
leaders will get investigated.
Rahul, that's not the way.
is
Let's give him
someone
10
interrupted me
seconds.
earlier also.
I'm coming
She
back
keeps
to you.
making the flow.
Atishi.
Rahul,
Yeah,
on your
so I'll just
show,
complete my point, Rahul. She has to
said
pipe down.
that
This is
their
not the way to
leaders
debate.
will only be investigated when someone goes to court.
He didn't
otherwise
really say that.
BJP
He
will
didn't
not
really say
let
that.
a
But okay, give
CBI
him 10
investigate
seconds.
them.
I'm
That
coming
is
back
what
to you, Atishi.
Shehzad
Go
has
ahead.
just said.
Just
Rahul,
don't
forget
fade it out.
everything
Let
else.
him
Rahul, forget everything else. She said, you remember the press conferences Atishi did, and they said that they have proof, audio proof about us involved in an 800 crore rupee scam where we are trying to buy their
Is that
MLAs.
the truth?
It's a criminal
That
offense to attempt to
CBI
do
will
that.
only
Today is the best
investigate
opportunity.
BJP
Rahul, your show is
leaders
much watched at
if
8 p.m.
other
Why doesn't she
opposition
present that audio
parties
tape?
go to
She made
court.
these allegations about Arun Jaitley. They had to go and
There is
apologize. They made it
the
about Gadkari
question.
ji. They had to go and apologize.
Okay.
These
Do
people are
not
serial liars.
escape the question. Rahul, please ask him.
Now go on. Your
Rahul,
fader was
on
down
your
for a
show,
while. Go on now.
Shehzad has just said, Rahul, on your show, Shehzad Poonawala has just said that BJP leaders will only be investigated if we were to go to court and get an order against them. This clearly means that Bharatiya Janata Party has given an order to CBI, do not investigate BJP leaders. Let hundreds of people die with the illegal liquor trade in Gujarat,
didn't
but
say
no
that.
one is going to investigate it. Let Himant Biswa Sarma be involved in scams. Let Suvendu Adhikari do all kind of corruption which the Bharatiya Janata Party used to talk about. But once he is in the Bharatiya Janata Party, do not investigate him till some party goes to court and gets an order against him. Shehzad Poonawala, the whole country is watching what the Bharatiya
think
Janata
of
Party
this
is doing.
politically.
They are watching the fact that employment is at a peak.
Rahul, did you notice one thing,
Unemployment is at
Rahul?
its
Can I come in for
inflation
10
is at
seconds
its
now that
peak.
it's an
Your
opportunity for me to speak?
Your finance minister says that rupee is not sliding.
Now where are we going to
Dollar
this
is
debate?
trending.
We can
Okay, now
debate
we're
on
getting
Only thing you
we're
can
getting
do
derailed.
is
We're
to
going
act
off on a
Rahul,
tangent.
this is the problem.
But tell me one thing, Shehzad. In Gujarat, does it not politically help the Aam Aadmi Party when Gopal Italia is attacked, when Sisodia is attacked? You're giving them greater amplification and space of mind, which if they weren't being attacked in this fashion, the AAP wouldn't be as much a part of the conversation in Gujarat as they are. You are willy-nilly helping them become the prime opposition to the BJP in Gujarat?
Rahul, for all your insights into politics, you have missed a very important trend which has happened in Delhi and Punjab. Notice one thing, that the Congress party and the Aam Aadmi party both are like twin sisters of corruption and tushtikaran. And therefore, when the Congress feels they can't take on us directly, they send the Aam Aadmi party to start taking on us, and they become zero in that state. And I think somewhere this procedure is going on in Gujarat also. Look, in Delhi, they couldn't fight us, so the Congress party became zero and the Aam Aadmi party rose. In Punjab, the Congress party became almost zero and the Aam Aadmi party rose. Now in Gujarat, where is the Congress party? It's in Kerala doing Bharat Jodo, and it has no interest to come in Gujarat. So I feel that they have done a tie-up with Aam Aadmi party, and look, they sound so similar. Whether it's saving corruption, whether it's their politics of abusing the Prime Minister, the Prime Minister's family, abusing Hindus, Qatar,
Is there, Atishi, some merit to this charge? Because a lot of the AAP campaign now seems to be happening in urban pockets. The Congress campaign is happening in rural pockets in Saurashtra, in Kutch, which might seem to suggest for someone watching on the outside कि क्या दाल में कुछ काला है, क्या सब मिले हुए हैं जी between AAP and the Congress?
Well, clearly, this is a very interesting kind of alliance where this party, Congress party, gets wiped out in every state we go to. And it clearly seems by that logic, by Shehzad's logic, clearly Aam Aadmi party had an alliance with BJP also in Delhi, because BJP also decided that they are going to stay in single digits in the Delhi assembly so that Aam Aadmi party and Arvind Kejriwal can come to power. Shehzad, the whole country is watching. They are seeing what bizarre
our
things
vote share
you are
in Delhi
saying, because
increased
you have
actually.
no defense
Atishi, I
to the
don't
fact
think you realize
that you
but
have
anyways,
no
go ahead,
answers to the questions. There is no answers to the question of unemployment, inflation, and that
let
is
me
the
get
reason
into
you are
this,
trying
Rahul.
to
Just give me 10
divert
seconds
everyone's
now.
attention by false cases against Aam Aadmi party leaders, against Satyendra Jain. You mentioned Satyendra Jain, and I have to tell you the audacity of the Bharatiya Janata Party that on the day the order was to be given in Satyendra Jain's case, your lawyer of the central government stands and says, "Ji, judge badal do. This judge seems too fair, therefore judge badal do." After the judge repeatedly kept on asking you, where's the evidence, there's no evidence against Satyendra Jain. So therefore, Bharatiya Janata Party's enforcement directorate says, oh, please change the judge in this case.
Okay.
Because it is
now,
clear that
here's
this
also
judge
the
is going to
fact
give an order
that so many
favorable to
Congress
Satyendra
MLAs
Jain.
walked over and joined the BJP after 2017. The BJP in Gujarat in particular has found it easier to deal with the Congress in comparison to the Aam Aadmi Party. The Aam Aadmi Party went and made the Hooch tragedy a big deal. The constable recruitment issue they made into a big deal. So they seem to be fighting and pushing back more than the Congress on the ground did in Gujarat.
But Rahul, I'll answer this question, but give me time for the other answers also. In Uttar Pradesh, they posited themselves as the persons who are going to form the next government. You remember Manish Sisodia and Sanjay Singh said
took on Modi?
Exactly, in Uttar Pradesh. Jamanat Japt. Uttarakhand, they had a chief ministerial face, Jamanat Japt on all seats. Goa, except for 3 seats, Jamanat Japt on all seats. We are saying, please come to Gujarat. Last time they contested, they got less than nota, and we have all seen their performance, but they are free to come and replace the Congress, be part with the Congress, tag team with the Congress. That's their business. Having said that, for us, Congress and Aam Aadmi Party are the two sides of the same coin. They represent the same ethos, the same value systems when it comes to corruption and on pro-Pakistan parasti, whether it's coming to surgical strike, asking proof of Balakot airstrike, doubting Pulwama, or making friendship with Pakistan. They're all on the same line. But having said that, let me come on some important points. And I hope Atishi, because she's an elected representative, will answer this specifically. Rahul, first of all, as per the CMI data for the month of October. Now, Rahul, please, Rahul, it's my side. It's my time. Please don't.
But we're not debating inflation. No, we're not debating unemployment and inflation. I'm happy to do a separate debate. I'm also running out of time. I have a very special guest waiting on the other side. So I have only a few seconds.
But Rahul, you made me answer your question.
Very quick final words.
Rahul, first of all, the unemployment rate in Gujarat is 1.5% as per the CMI data. It is 9% in Delhi. She can go and check it, and it is more than the national average in Delhi, which it is in Delhi. So she should tell us what is the unemployment rate. Secondly, on Satyendra Jain case, she has lied. The High Court rejected Satyendra Jain's contention, and therefore he still continues to be in jail about the judge transfer being done forcibly. Then thirdly, she says that all these cases are false cases. If it is false case, why didn't she get a relief from a court of law? And any of these? And finally, can she just answer in one line, is the case on Sonia Gandhi on National Health, the ED investigation, does she support it, or she thinks that it's a vendetta politics?
Atishi, 20 seconds, you want to respond to the last fireballs Shehzad threw your way?
It is very clear that Bharatiya Janata Party is worried, Bharatiya Janata Party is scared by the rising popularity of Arvind Kejriwal, and the entire episode of CBI wanting to arrest Manish Sisodia is just because they want to prevent him from campaigning
if your
in
Sharab
Gujarat.
policy is so good, would you implement it in Gujarat?
27 years of misrule,
if your liquor policy is so good, would you implement it in Gujarat?
It is very clear that
Atishi, I'm asking a question. You've not answered a single specific question on the liquor policy. If your liquor policy is so good, will you implement it in Gujarat?
Your so-called Sharab Bandi, hazaron crore.
There you go. They are saying they'll implement it in Gujarat.
The excise policy in Gujarat.
They're saying they'll implement it in Gujarat.
We've had a pugnacious face-off between Shahzad Poonawalla and Atishi. You've heard both sides. I don't wish to lean in one way or the other. You are viewer decide who you thought carried this debate. When I come back, I'll be talking to one of the world's top experts on Xi Jinping, a man who's written more than 20 books on China, 3 definitive books on Xi Jinping, who's now being appointed president for the next 5 years. What could the next 5 years look like? Professor Kerry Brown joins me on the other side of a very quick break. Stay with us. We are back in a moment.
Armed with facts, she takes the news by its horns.
Do you think the future of these students are not hampered?
Fierce, bold and direct, setting the tone for the biggest stories from every corner and every angle. Expect nothing but the unfiltered truth.
News first, niceties later. Watch me, Nabila Jamal, on India Today.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
Tonight at 9 p.m. on the News Today with me, Rajdeep Sardesai. Amidst concerns over the falling rupee and inflation, the IMF says India is a bright spot on a dark global horizon. What explains the fund's assessment of the Indian economy? Top IMF experts will be joining me on the show tonight. Also, all the big political stories. The Congress presidential elections are being held after 2 decades. AAP is on the warpath over the Delhi liquor scam. And in Mumbai, the BJP has withdrawn its candidate from a crucial by-poll. Plus, we'll ask, why is it that Hindi books for MBBS have divided the medical fraternity? All that and much more on the news today.
Hello and welcome. What are the next 5 years of Xi Jinping's presidency going to be like? Will China attack Taiwan? Will the PLA continue its aggressive military posture against India? How will the relations between China and the United States evolve? These are the big questions, the answers to which will determine not just the future of the Middle Kingdom, but also, in many ways, the future of the world. Joining me on this special broadcast to talk about the world's most powerful man is one of the world's top experts on Xi Jinping. Professor Kerry Brown has written more than 20 books on China, including 3 studying the mind and the moves of President Xi. Kerry Brown is the author of Xi, A Study in Power, The World According to Xi, Everything You Need to Know About the New China, and CEO China, The Rise of Xi Jinping. Professor Brown, at a time when the world's attention is riveted on Beijing, it's a pleasure that you could take out time to speak to us on India Today. Welcome.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here.
Since you study the mind and the moves of President Xi Jinping as closely as you do, could you at the outset lay out your vision of what do you think President Xi is likely to be like over the next 5 years? What should the world expect from the world's most powerful man?
Well, I think we'll get more of what we've already got. I mean, there's quite a lot of predictability now. The speech that Xi Jinping made at the beginning of the 20th Congress on the 16th of October was a reaffirmation. There was no introduction of anything particularly new or surprising. His core vision has remained, I think, very stable, and that is, first of all, an absolute conviction in the importance, authority and power of the Communist Party of China, which he represents, and secondly, a strong nationalism, a desire for China to be a strong, rich country, dominant in its region, and able to have its own specific kind of role in the world. I think these are the things that we'll see in the next 5 years, because these are the things we've already seen in the last 10 in which he's been in power.
Deng Xiaoping introduced the idea that you could be in charge only for 2 terms. Xi Jinping now overturning that. Is there any way of knowing at all how long Xi Jinping would like to stay on in power? How long could he stay on in power?
It's very hard to say. If there are viable successors who appear at this Congress, the 5-yearly meeting of the Communist Party where leadership changes happen, then we will kind of know that if there's a succession plan. I don't think that there will this time. It's hard to say whether in the next 5 years someone will suddenly emerge as more important. I think, there's a sort of conviction that stability is necessary and that this leadership should continue as it is until at least the next Congress. Of course, there's lots of questions there. Is he able to do this in terms of his health? Will he actually not become a bit like Putin, more and more autocratic, more and more kind of unreliable in his judgments? These are big, big things. But at the moment, I think the commitment is to keep him there, for him to stay there for the foreseeable future.
How's he changed between the time he took charge as the leader of the Communist Party to the time when he's stamping his control over the world's most powerful party at a time when China is very different from the way it was under Mao or Deng Xiaoping? How has the leadership style of Xi Jinping evolved in your view?
Well, I think he was pretty confident from the first day. In November 2012, November the 15th, he emerged that day at the 18th Party Congress then as the key leader, and he spoke for a few minutes and had a very clear idea of what he was going to do in his leadership, and that's never really stopped. His confidence has been quite striking. It's also been unsettling, of course. People find this, kind of autocratic kind of personality that he seems to have, really kind of problematic. I think the things that's changed probably is the world around him has changed. America has become more divided. Europe has become or continued to be quite divided. We now have, of course, the impact of the pandemic, the very serious war that Russia is waging on Ukraine. I mean, these have made a much more uncertain environment and an awareness of issues like climate change and their urgency. And I think that's made his authority, in Chinese eyes at least, or the Communist Party's eyes, even more authority. These are problems that have, in a sense, meant that he has become even stronger because they have meant a strong response.
The Chinese economy has suffered hard because of Xi Jinping's zero COVID policy. There's a lot of global commentary around how this was being done and not changed with an eye on that Communist Party Congress. Do you think now the Chinese economy will start opening up more, and a lot of these restrictions, there's no way of knowing for sure, but a lot of these restrictions which were set to be kept in place so that there's no disturbance ahead of his re-election, do you think those will likely ease now?
Well, he said in his speech that zero COVID will not stop. I don't think there'll be a dramatic change, at least in the first few weeks and months. Possibly next year there will be some kinds of relaxations, that they'll be presented probably as innovations and responses to a changing situation. But the political commitment to having zero COVID is very, very strong. The economic situation in China is extremely difficult at the moment. He committed to a 5.5% GDP increase in the next few years, and that's ambitious. But I think that the Chinese economy will decide a lot of the political decisions, because while Xi Jinping is not necessarily solely interested in the economy as a political tool is very important to him and the party, and it needs to be in a good state, which clearly it isn't at the moment.
Now, how do you assess Xi's ability to deal with the challenges the Chinese economy faces? It's difficult from the outside to read what's happening, because there are so many wheels within wheels, so much black hole from where light doesn't emerge fully, given the fact that we know of the real estate bubble, the debt crisis, slowing growth. How do you see Xi trying to deal with some of those challenges?
Well, I mean, a centralized system such as his does have many policy tools it can use. I mean, I think obviously the big problem is slowing growth. And there's many contributions to that, one of which is the, kind of state of the outside world. And that's had an impact on China, the disappearance of, yet more of China's export markets. All these things don't help. He, in his speech, made clear that China is going to put a lot of effort into technological innovation, into education, into upgrading its economic system. So, it's not just about manufacturing. It's going to be more and more about service precision, more and more about creating new innovations technologically in China, and having a better kind of pool of technology. This is a long-term plan, but I think it's going to accelerate. So we can expect to see significant government investment in, education, particularly in STEM subjects, so that there is less reliance on the world outside for this technology, and more autonomy for China. I think that's an absolutely key thing that this administration is now working on, because it's no longer trusting of America or Europe or others as technological partners. It just regards this as politicized, and it's going to try and go it alone more and more. Of course, it won't be easy, but that's what it's going to try and do.
To your mind, how does she see the relationship with India? When Prime Minister Modi got elected to power, the sense that was sought to be conveyed was that President Xi has a favorable disposition towards India. We've seen post-2020, the People's Liberation Army amassed along the line of actual control, continuing its aggressive military postures even today. From the way that you see it, how are China-India relations likely to evolve over the next 5 years?
Well, obviously, India and China are, kind of big potential competitors, but they have no choice because of their huge shared border, but to collaborate, to try and cooperate with each other. And I think Modi, Prime Minister Modi and President Xi Jinping, have put effort into building a personal relationship, which seems to be relatively positive. The complexity of the relationships, however, is going to really be from the fact that obviously India is becoming a stronger economic player, much more prominent than it used to be. It's likely that quite soon India's population will exceed China's, so that's sort of quite a symbolic moment. And it's also true that this relationship is not one where there's a great deal, certainly on China's side, of understanding. I think that China has not invested much in trying to understand India. Its Belt and Road Initiative has obviously not been something that India has particularly embraced. China's tried to balance its relations with Pakistan, India, and of course other powers in the region. I mean, these are complex things that are kind of ones it's not particularly, focused and prioritized before. But I think generally, with all of the issues that China has with America, with particularly kind of America and the European alliance system, very difficult relations with Russia at the moment, I think it would want a reasonably predictable relationship with India, something that is reasonably free of problems. I think it would be in the business, therefore, of creating quite a strong collaboration with India if it could.
What you're saying is logical, except that facts on the ground seem to dispute that theory, because you've got the PLA amassed even now aggressively both in front of the Ladakh border and in Arunachal Pradesh. Those fortifications continuing, China investing very significantly in building border infrastructure and new military garrisons, leading many in India to wonder, where is she going with this military buildup?
Yeah, I mean, Xi's politics is very nationalistic. I mean, look, if I was an advisor to Xi Jinping, I would say that this should be ratcheted down. I mean, maybe after the Congress it will be. I mean, in the broad picture, China's issues with India are not as problematic as they are at all with America, for instance. But I mean, it's not an easy relationship, and the unresolved border dispute doesn't look like it's going to be resolved anytime soon. That will always be a cause of tension. So I think there will be problems. The issue is, are they big problems or manageable problems?
Okay. What do you think is likely to happen next on Taiwan? Everybody dissected Xi's speech very carefully, looking for clues on what could happen with Taiwan next. He's not broken any new ground. Is it because he intends to act and not speak, or do you think the fact that he hasn't made any more provocative statements suggests, at least for the next 5 years, he doesn't intend to move militarily against Taipei?
I think that all depends on what America in particular and Taiwan do. They both have elections in 2024, and that's going to be a difficult moment, because if you have an American president potentially who is going to be much more assertive on Taiwan and recognition of Taiwan, and you have a Taiwanese president who may also be assertive, then there's going to clearly be an enormous problem. I think China's aware that this is an issue where at the moment there is no easy resolution. A military solution would be a catastrophe for everyone. Russia, Ukraine has proved that war is a hugely risky adventure, and indeed an amphibious landing is far more difficult. So I don't see this leadership wanting to accelerate any action at the moment unless provoked. But of course, their nationalistic, kind of philosophy means that this issue will not go away. I think they're just going to continue to try and apply pressure diplomatically on Taiwan and try and make sure that their interests are asserted with an idea of an outcome, but not a deadline for that outcome.
How do you see Beijing and Washington DC's relationship evolve over the next 5 years? That is the central relationship which defines in many ways the new emerging global order. We've seen Biden and Xi try to at least be in touch with each other, so it doesn't seem as if there's a complete communication breakdown, but there still is a lot of testiness and edginess in that relationship.
I don't think it's going to be an easy relationship in the next 5 years. The only question is, will it get worse? I mean, it's pretty bad at the moment. And so, this is not a very ambitious target. The main thing is to make sure it doesn't get worse. As I said, the big event will be the election in 2024, the end of 2024. And what happens as a result of that? I mean, that could be a new candidate who could even be more assertive on China, and things will just kind of deteriorate. The issue really is that America is obviously anxious and at some points almost panicking about China, which is too strong now to just manage. And it's not quite worked out a way of, kind of allowing China space in some areas, but, really kind of making sure that it asserts its interests in others. This is not going to be something that can be resolved. This is the new geopolitics. We have to be realistic about this and manage this. We can't resolve it. We just have to manage it. And the question is America and China, able to do that, or will they be overwhelmed by their incompatibility sometimes?
According to you, when you research the initial days of Xi Jinping, his rise in the party, what makes him different from all the communist leaders before him? Not since Mao Zedong has any one Chinese leader concentrated so much power in his hands. Not in the world is anyone else with this kind of power, with the absence of the kind of checks that would be there on a leader in a country like the United States or even in India. What makes Xi tick? What makes him different? What makes him special?
Well, there's a very, in my mind, simple answer to that. What makes him different is because China is different now. I mean, Mao Zedong was the ruler of China when it was a relatively small, undeveloped and marginalized economy. And Xi Jinping is the ruler of China when it's, in pole position to be the world's largest economy. Xi Jinping is the ruler of China when it's the biggest trading partner for 120 plus countries, when it's the world's second biggest military. There's so many things where China today is not like it was even, 20 years ago or 25 years ago. In 1989, the Chinese economy was 3% the size of the Chinese economy today. So this is a different place. It's like a driver who has gone from driving, a small kind of power car to getting into, a high horsepower car with lots more kind of capacity. The driver might be the same, but the thing they're driving is totally different. Xi Jinping is, I think, a confident and assertive leader, that's for sure. The basis of that is that he has a country which is so much more, powerful economically, geopolitically, and military than ever before.
One of the stories that made international headlines in the build-up to the Chinese Communist Party Congress was the banner which was displayed on a bridge in Beijing, protesting against Xi, protesting against zero COVID. What's your broad sense of how Chinese society and citizens think of Xi Jinping? How much support, in your view, does he have amongst the common people of China, and how many would like to push back against some of his policies if they had the opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, the protest in Beijing at Sitong Bridge was, by a very brave individual, and maybe, kind of sort of extraordinary that they did what they did. But I mean, we know what one person feels in China, but what the other 1.399 billion people think, not easy to say. I mean, I suspect, like anywhere, there's a spectrum of opinion. There are those who may be enthusiastic about him and his nationalism, and that might be a minority. There are those who are accepting because their lives are, broadly okay. And there are those who complain, but, there's a sense of inertia. Those who are absolutely opposed to him, again, are going to be a minority. This seems to me a normal spectrum in any society. Are the ones opposed to him going to ever get critical mass? It's very difficult. It would be a huge challenge. A lot will depend on the economy, because I think the more middle groups, which are the vast majority, may become more negative about the government as the economy goes through problems. But the Communist Party has one card it can always play, which is nationalism. It can always blame others for the position it's in. It can say that Chinese need to always sort of stand together. It's almost like a kind of quasi-war, situation. So I don't think that he is remotely under any threat at the moment. If the one person opposing him was sitting next to him on the Politburo, we have a different problem. But what's remarkable is there's no real evidence that that is the case. And the elite, at least, seem relatively unified around his leadership for whatever reason.
Okay, so let's build on that. Is there anyone you see at the Congress who you think could be the successor to Xi Jinping? Is that at all? I mean, given all, anybody else would say there's no way I know. But given your wealth of experience, would you like to hazard a guess or one candidate or maybe a clutch of candidates who you think could be amongst those who are likely to replace Xi?
Very difficult. I mean, to be honest, the only person who has anything like his stature is his premier at the moment, Li Keqiang. Of course, he's likely either to retire or stay on in a new, different sort of position. Younger leaders, I mean, people like Hu Chunhua or Wang Yang, I mean, slightly younger in Wang Yang's case, they have the experience, but I don't think anyone would look upon them as being groomed as a successor. Lower down, I mean, look, Xi Jinping was not really thought about before, almost like months before he really kind of, got the top slot in 2007. So maybe there are figures that, suddenly will emerge and everyone will say, yeah, these are really important figures. At the moment, though, I don't think Xi Jinping has any interest in giving any kind of, light to a successor because it takes power from him and he's not in that game at the moment.
Well, he is playing a game which he thinks is best for China, most certainly dangerous for the rest of the world and definitely for India. We'll track all of Xi Jinping's moves. Professor Kerry Brown, it's been a pleasure talking to you and benefiting from your insights on the world's most powerful and also the world's most dangerous man. Thank you very much for joining us on the Newstrack, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
In Tuvalu, we are living the realities of climate change, sea level rise, as you stand watching me today at COP26. We cannot wait for speeches when the sea is rising around us all the time. Climate mobility must come to the forefront. We must take bold, alternative action today to secure tomorrow.
At an average land elevation of no more than 2 meters above sea level, my country will succumb to sea level rise. Mr. President, let me now speak of an issue that is of the greatest concern to my country: climate change and its consequential sea level rise remain the single greatest existential threat my country faces.
Ever wondered how much startup engineers earn annually? Well, they do earn a lot, but not all of their packages make it to the headlines. Software engineers with jobs at Wipro, TCS of the world get paid anything between 4 to 5 lakhs per annum as their starting salary. That looks like mere change when you really look at what startups are throwing at fresh software engineers as of today. Data from 50,000 engineers' salaries suggests that startup companies like Meesho, Cred, Swiggy and others pay a lot more LPA as compared to traditional IT companies. The data was shared by Amit Singh, co-founder of IT hiring startup Weekday. The survey reveals that social media startup ShareChat pays the highest to its mid-level software engineers. The social media platform pays around 47 lakh rupees annually for software engineers who have around 4 years of experience. Cred and Meesho come next in line, with Cred paying 40 lakhs per annum and Meesho paying 39 lakhs per annum to their software engineers with similar experience, while traditional IT companies like TCS, Wipro and Infosys pay just around 10 lakhs per annum to software engineers with 4 years of experience. The starting salary offered by these big IT companies is around 7 lakhs on an annual basis, which too is significantly less than what now startups can offer today. Among the top unicorns of the country, companies like Byju's, Freshworks, Quicker and ShopClose offer the least salary to their software engineers. Data analysis has found that ShopClose pays around 12 lakhs annual salary to engineers with 4 years of experience, while companies like Zomato, Paytm,